Hello garden friends, and welcome to my channel, DK's Garden Oasis. I am Debbie. I'm a master gardener and butterfly raising hobbyist. I hope everyone had a wonderful time over the Thanksgiving holiday. I spent time with my son and family. So in today's video, I wanted to share my successes and my failures in my garden of 2022 and tell you a little bit about myself. Make sure you stay till the end where I share a poem from Ralph Waldo Emerson. So I started YouTube about a year ago, February of 2022, and I have to say I have a new appreciation for anybody that uploads videos or is on social media, promote their message, product, or services. I wanted to share my passion of gardening and nature. In light of Thanksgiving, I wanted to thank everyone who has either watched my video, shared, commented, or subscribed to my channel. I am humbled and very appreciative. So a little bit about me. I'm the oldest of 5. I have 2 other sisters and 2 other brothers. My parents are both still living, and my dad is in a senior facility right now in skilled care as he is in late stages of Alzheimer's. And it is very difficult for my family to see him going through this right now. I am married. I have 3 children, 2 sons and 1 daughter. I am beyond proud of my 3 kids. They are successful, kind, and doing amazing things with their lives. I work part-time at a garden center nearby, and I have been a lifelong learner. The most recent learning was me becoming a master gardener in 2020. I have 7 grandchildren who I love and cherish. We don't currently have any pets of our own. I've always had dogs or birds or a lot of different kind of pets. But currently right now, my daughter is living with us and she has an 11-year-old 3-legged Great Dane. Her name is Zoe and she has persevered through many trials. Beyond her being a 100-pound dog that has 3 legs, she also, when she was 5 years old, she had lymphoma, and she is now 11 and it has been in remission since then. She also has a heart condition that a lot of large breed dogs get. She has been doing really well on the medicine. I think this dog has 9 lives. She is everything what they say about Danes, goofy, and a big lap dog. I also own my own travel agency, All Points Travel, and through the years, the travel agency business has changed. I'm a home-based business and have been since really home-based agencies started. I have never been a brick and mortar, but I have worked in them. But the travel agency business has changed over the years due to the economy, the internet, COVID. Things have changed drastically in the travel agency world. I love photography, and I would also love to learn to draw and to paint watercolors and to travel the world. Okay, I think that's enough about me for now. So how did my garden do in 2022? I'll start with my failures. I pre-sprouted ranunculus and anemones, and I have a video, I believe it's the spring video that I have, and I'll link that above, where I pre-sprouted and they did really well in the house. And then I put them outside in, I believe, April, end of March, and I have a love-hate relationship with rabbits. They're cute little bunnies when they're little, hopping around, but they're not so cute when they eat all of your flowers that you've just planted. Next year, I'm going to put the waste paper baskets around them and possibly some fencing like I did for the dahlias. But you live and learn. My next failure was Lisianthus. And they are very difficult to grow from seed. They can get mold. They grow very slowly. You have to grow those well in advance of putting them outside. I believe it's something like 12 to 16 weeks. And I believe I planted those in February, or they did start sprouting. None of them made it. The year before, I did have a Lisianthus that it ended up going in a pot and never bloomed in 2021. But this year I repotted it, put it out in sun, and it did finally get blooms. And the reason I'm going to still keep growing them is they last a very long time when you cut them. So I believe I had mine at least 2 to 3 weeks. So I'm going to try to grow them from seed again, and then I'm hoping to get some plugs as well. And with the seeds, I'm going to try a different method. I'm going to put them in soil blockers this year. Monarchs was another failure, but this wasn't due to anything that I did. I had plenty of host plants and nectar plants. There was a great decline in the monarch population in the Midwest this year. I only had 6 in the summer and 7 that I tagged in late summer. We'll see what happens when we get the numbers from the overwintering sites, how they really did throughout the United States. It's looking like California or the West Coast butterflies are doing well, and that's really, really good news because 2 years ago they were really in decline and close to being on the extinct list. Normally I raise 25 in the early summer and 25 in the late summer. I could have raised more, but I choose to do only 25 at a time to prevent disease, and honestly it is very labor intensive, so I don't want to get way over my head. And again, the more you raise, the more prone you are to having disease. I raise them to educate, and it's not about the numbers to me. But this year was extremely sad for me to see those numbers. And what can we attribute to the decline? I was told at a conference that I went to in the late fall that when they were coming north through Texas, it was a very wet spring, and possibly some of the monarch population had perished. But also there is a loss of milkweed, loss of habitat, and the use of pesticides and herbicides. I believe this is what happened in my garden. Unbeknownst to many of my neighbors, they have services that spray for mosquitoes, or they spray pesticides, fungicides, and this is detrimental to any kind of insects, bees, butterflies, caterpillars. So I believe that's what happened last year in my garden. The use of pesticides and insecticides affects the natural selection of insects and the ecosystem. So I'm doing my best by bringing them in when they are an egg to help with their survival. I don't plan on raising butterflies forever. I'm hoping that eventually I will have enough host plants and nectar plants to provide for the butterflies and caterpillars. As far as vegetables, everything did really well. I'm still having problems a little bit growing some tomatoes in grow bags, so I will not be doing my indeterminate tomatoes in grow bags next year. They did really well in my raised beds that I had in a nearby town, so I'm going to do that again. What I will be using the grow bags are for the determinate, and those will be just fine in the grow bags. What I had a failure with was the garlic. In 2021, I planted garlic of many different varieties, and they did start sprouting. And in the winter they were fine, and then they just seemed like they rotted. So this year what I did is I just planted a hardy garlic for my zone 5B, and I did cover them this year. They did not start sprouting, so I hope that's a good sign. I will take off the plastic in early spring, and hopefully I can get a couple of good garlic bulbs out of that. Successes. My dahlias I would consider a success. Most of them bloom. There was a couple that I did not get blooms. They started with the green stalks, but I never really got a bloom out of them. But for the most part, the majority of them were absolutely beautiful. My first plant starts and farmers market was a huge success. I got to meet a lot of the neighbors, and I gave away a lot of free plant starts. I also shared my vegetables in the fall with my neighbors. All of my proven winners, annuals and perennials, did really well, and they could only thrive from here. I'm sure a second year they're going to look amazing. My plans for next year, 2023. I'm going to probably grow a little less tomatoes and vegetables because I had tomatoes and peppers coming out my ears, so I don't need that many, and I even given them away, I still had way too many. So I'm going to grow more herbs, annuals, perennials. I hope to sell some vegetables, herbs, some perennials in some grow bags and containers next year. I'm also going to be growing some pollinator plants for those that are interested in having some pollinator plants in your garden. I would also like to acquire a little bit of land to grow cut flowers. I'm still working on this, so hopefully in the coming months I'll know more. My dream would be to grow a legacy garden so that people could come and enjoy. I'm also going to be working on my social media. I do have Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, but I think what I'm going to focus on this year is my Instagram account and work on some quick little reels. I also have a website that I have not done anything with, so I wanted to start working on a blog and maybe later in the year start having some merch. So that's my successes and failures for my garden of 2022. Make sure you check out my videos from this past year. I'll also continue to learn and try different products and new methods. So I hope you'll continue to watch my journey to blooming, growing, and conserving in your garden. Make sure you hit the subscribe and notification bell for future videos. I'm also going to be leaving 2 polls on my community page. The first one, I'm going to be asking what you'd like to see in 2023 from me, what kind of videos you would like to see, more or less. Any kind of comments would be great. I would be extremely grateful. The other poll, I wanted to know what you would like to read for my blog posts. I have some ideas, but if there's something that you would really like to know, just leave that also in the comments. Next week is our mommy-daughter annual weekend downtown Chicago. In December, I will be doing many different seed hauls. I have a lot of seeds coming in, and I will split those up between vegetables and herbs, some annuals and perennials, and then my butterfly garden. Now I'd like to share that beautiful poem by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Thanks for watching and happy gardening. Bye-bye.